Hello students, I'm back with another video which centers around, which the main focus of this video is to clarify a very important aspect of biology. And what is that? As you can see on the screen, it's biological classification. Now, what is biological classification? Suppose when any organism comes in front of us, we have a tendency to identify the organism that, okay, it's a bird, or it's a cat, it's a dog, it's a man. We have a tendency to identify. Not only identify, and then we have a tendency to put it into a box. That it's a man, it's not a tiger. Right? So the science of doing this, the practice of doing this is called classification. Who does all these things? How do we know it's a bird, it's a cat, it's a dog? Who will tell us? So there are a group of scientists who deal with identifying different organisms around us on the planet. After identifying them, they try to put them under certain groups. They classify them. So this is the science of classification of the living world. Why do we need to do this? What is the need for classification, and that also developing a science about it? Why? Let me tell you one thing. On planet Earth, there are about, say, at least minimum 20,000 species of plants. Okay, and few thousands species of animals. Is it possible for any human being to know, to identify each and every organism that is present on planet Earth? Definitely not. So herein comes the need to classify organisms. So you can see on my screen it's written that biological classification is the procedure, scientific procedure of arranging organisms into groups and subgroups on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities, and placing the groups in a hierarchy of categories. So that means we compare organisms, we study similarities between two organisms, not only similarities, dissimilarities also. These similarities, dissimilarities, how do we study, or which aspect do we study? Their structural similarity, external structure, internal structure, their behavioral similarity. So we study similarities and dissimilarities between organisms, it can be a plant, two plants, two animals, and then we put them under groups or subgroups. So this is all about biological classification. Okay? Why do we need to do this? So see, it's written over here, need for classification. Because I already told you that it's not possible for us to know about each and every organism of the planet. In South America, there can be one species of a tree found in Amazon rainforest, whereas in the tropical rainforests of India, there can be another tree. But we should remember that both of them belong to the tropical area. That means both of them must be having certain similarity. That is why they are found in the tropics. But sitting in India, I cannot know each and every species of trees found in Amazon rainforest. But I can have an idea that okay, both of them are found in tropics. There must be certain similarities. So it's written over here, see that the need for classification is it's not possible to study each and every organism of the planet. All types of organisms do not occur in one locality. All types of tropical trees will not be found in India. If we take example of any animal, suppose lion, entire planet Earth, okay, lions are found in two continents. One is Africa and the other one is Asia. We don't find lions in any other part of the world, right? So all types of organisms do not occur in one locality. It also helps to know relationships among different groups of organisms. Like, let me give you an example. We often say that we, that means human beings, we have come from the apes. Apes, they are our ancestors. Why do we say such things? Definitely, scientists have come across certain similarities between apes and human beings. How did they come to know about the similarities? Because they tried to study the relationship between an ape and a human being. Definitely, they have tried to compare characteristics of apes and characteristics of human beings. The closest ape, the nearest ancestor, is said to be a chimpanzee. Okay, 99.9% of our DNA, our means human beings' DNA, matches with that of a chimpanzee. Which means scientists must have compared DNA of a chimpanzee, DNA of a man, and then they have chalked out a relationship that okay, this is DNA profile of a chimpanzee, this is DNA profile of a man. 99.9% similarities are there with no other apes. Such similarities are found, which means chimpanzees are the nearest or the closest ancestors of human beings. So that is why we need to classify organisms. And so what are the objectives? Why do we classify? The needs we have discussed. Now, after classification, which objectives are fulfilled? Which criteria are fulfilled? So, to identify and describe all possible types of species. There are many species on planet Earth. Some of them are not yet discovered. We are still in the process. But we are trying to identify and describe. Describe means describe their features of all possible types of species. After identifying and describing them, we try to arrange the species in various categories. This is Homo sapiens, so this is mammal. This is Panthera leo, so this is a lion. Then this is a Macropus, which is a kangaroo. So we try to classify them, we try to put them in groups. And to indicate origin and evolution of species, as I told you, I gave you an example. Chimpanzee and man, we have evolved from chimpanzee. That is how our species Homo sapiens, this species sapiens, has evolved. Okay, so this is the elementary idea about biological classification. Why such a chapter will be included in school curriculum? Because until and unless we have an idea about classifying different organisms, about knowing their features, how can we proceed further in biology? Because living organisms are the experimental tools of biologists. Okay, so See over here what I have written, systematic position. So, let me give you an example. India. India is a country. Okay. Under India, there are many states. Under each state, there are many districts. Under each district, there are many subdivisions, many divisions are there. Under a division, there can be local communities, corporations, municipalities. Okay. So let us compare India with a kingdom. It's written over here, kingdom. So let us compare. Suppose kingdom. Okay. Now, India is a kingdom. Under this kingdom, there are many states. So suppose each state is a phylum. Now, why do we consider India, the people living in India, to be under one nation, one country, India? Because the people living in India, they share a common nationality because they have certain similar features. Their structural characteristics are similar. They speak a kind of similar language. Culturally, they are similar. Geographically, they are similar because they live in the same area. So that is why we are Indians. Similarly, organisms which share common characteristics in large can be put under one kingdom, like a mango tree, an alga, okay, and a pine. Mango tree, alga, and pine. Three of them, we will put them under kingdom, plant kingdom. Why? Definitely these three organisms, mango tree, pine, and alga, they must be having certain similarities. What are the similarities? Three of them, they contain chlorophyll. Since they contain chlorophyll, they must be preparing their own food by photosynthesis. This is the most obvious similarity between three of them. So that is why they come under the kingdom plant. But a mango tree is a kind of tree where seeds are produced. Fruit is there. A pine tree, what happens is, seeds are produced, but the seed is naked. It's not found in a fruit. So herein comes the difference. Mango is different, pine is different. In a mango, seeds are enclosed within fruits, but in a pine, seeds are not enclosed in fruits. So there comes the next step, which is phylum. Now, under, suppose mango and apple. Mango tree, apple tree. Both of them, they have their seeds within fruits. But an apple tree must be having certain other characteristics. Okay? Suppose if I give an example, suppose a fish and a frog. Both of them have vertebral column, similarity. Both of them can locomote, similarity. Both of them have eyes, similarity. But a fish is totally aquatic. Amphibians have a dual kind of a life cycle. A part of their life cycle they spend in water. The rest part they can spend on land also. So herein comes the difference. A fish can only survive in water. It's primarily aquatic. But a frog, if required, it can stay in water. If required, it can migrate to the land. Herein comes the difference. So there, fish comes under a different class. Frog comes under a different class. Then suppose order. What is an order? Suppose a camel, okay, and say a tiger. Camel and tiger. Both of them are animals, both of them can produce, can give birth to young ones. But there are certain characteristics which distinguish a camel from a tiger. So they belong to different order. Within the same order, there can be differences. Then there will be a family. Families are different. Suppose Bengalis. I am Boishali Chakraborty. Some other friend, my friend can be such and such Bose or such and such Bhattacharya, such and such Chatterjee. So I belong to Chakraborty family, my friend belongs to Bose family. Okay? Then comes the genus. Suppose a tiger and a lion. Both of them, their genus is Panthera. Why? Because they have certain similarities. Both of them are carnivores. Both of them, they're structurally also they are similar because they belong to the same family. They belong to the cat family. So, under cat family, lion, tiger, both of them belong to the same family. But genus is different. Why genus is different? Because a lion, you will see, a lion has got the male lions, they have got manes, maybe they're behaviorally they are somewhat different. A lion and a tiger can never naturally reproduce and give birth to a young one. That is why they belong to different species. Their genus is same Panthera because certain similarities are there. They're structurally they are similar. Food habits are similar. So they belong to the same genus. But a lion and a tiger can never mate, can never interbreed and give birth to a young one. That is why they belong to different species. That is why they belong to different species. So, this is called taxonomical hierarchy. Hierarchy. Hierarchy means from higher position, coming down to lower position. At the highest of this hierarchy is kingdom. Lion, tiger, cockroach, man, rat, mollusk, starfish, sponge, we all are animals. So we are all under one kingdom, Animalia. But under kingdom there can be different phylum, phyla. Phylum singular, phyla plural. Okay, so we belong to phylum Chordata. A cockroach belongs to phylum non-chordata. There must be a difference. After phylum comes class, then order. So like this, we are coming down. So at the highest level of the hierarchy, there is kingdom, and the lowest level we have species, and that's why this is called systematic position. When we try to identify an organism, we study the characteristics and put the organism into these steps. Okay? So this is called systematic position or taxonomical hierarchy. I hope I could make you understand. And here you see I have written the definition of species, very important. A group of potentially naturally interbreeding organisms. Naturally interbreeding. Artificial reproduction is not taking place. They are naturally mating among themselves and giving birth to fertile young ones. That group will be called species. And they should be there occurring at the same region also. Asiatic lion and African lion are not same, or Indian elephant and African elephant not same. They belong to different regions. They have been separated by vast stretches of water bodies, oceans. They cannot come to near to each other, they cannot mate, so they have evolved into different species. So at the same place, at the same time, millions of years back, elephants were, they did not look like this. They have an ancestor called mammoth, huge animal. Mammoth and elephant, there have been many differences over the years, over millions of years. So at the same time, at the same place, these two aspects are also important when we define species. Okay? Now based on this, so the entire living world, the scientists have chalked out a system of classifying the entire living world, and that is called five kingdom classification. Earlier, this trying to classify organism, this practice is we can trace it back to hundreds of years back. Aristotle first attempted to classify organisms. He said that certain organisms have red blood, certain organisms do not have red blood. So he classified organisms into two groups: organisms having red blood, organisms do not having or not having red blood. But then it was seen that there are many organisms which do not have any blood. So that system just fell apart. It could not be accepted. Later on, other scientists like Linnaeus, he classified organisms on the planet Earth into two categories: plant and animal. But then there are certain organisms which do not match the criteria of a plant, neither do they match criteria of an animal. Suppose viruses. It's neither a plant, it's neither an animal. It doesn't belong to any kingdom actually, because it's not a living entity. If it comes inside a host's body, it becomes living. Otherwise, it's non-living. How can we put it under a plant group or an animal group? So, after all such attempts, it was finally accepted that entire living world can be classified under five kingdoms. See over here, it's written Monera, which is the most primitive one, then Protista, then Fungi, then Plantae, and then Animalia. These are the five kingdoms. How were they classified? Like Monera, they are the first unicellular organisms. They are the first unicellular organisms. And they are prokaryotic. Prokaryotic means they have a primitive nucleus. The DNA, chromosomal material, it's not enclosed within a membrane. So they are prokaryotic. Example, bacteria. After monerans came the protistans. They were also unicellular but slightly advanced. Why? Because their chromatin material now became enclosed by a membrane, a nuclear membrane. So eukaryotic. Then came fungi. From unicellularity, now slowly the evolution is progressing towards multicellularity. So in kingdom fungi, we find organisms having multiple cells. Example, yeast, which is unicellular. We can say a mold, which is multicellular, that is also fungi. Then comes Plantae. Now under Plantae, most of them, multicellularity is observed in most of the species except certain algae. They can be unicellular. But from Plantae multicellularity became the rule or became very prominent. Animalia, all animals are multicellular, all. Even the lowest grade of an animal kingdom, the sponges, they are also multicellular. And definitely from kingdom Protista we can see that eukaryotic nature came into existence. Nuclear membrane started to enclose a chromatin material. So these are the 5 kingdoms into which the entire living world can be classified. Who did this? Who was the propounder of such a system of classification? We should definitely remember the name, children. R.H. Whittaker. R.H. Whittaker. Okay, so this is the elementary idea of classification of organisms. We will proceed with the chapter with each and every kingdom in the next video. And for reference, that what is a prokaryotic organism, what is a eukaryotic organism, you can refer to the videos regarding cell biology that is already there on my channel. Okay, so if you like this video, children, please press the like button and then share it and subscribe to my channel so that you can get to see more of such videos.